The universe is a vast and expansive existence, far more vast than our tiny minds can actually comprehend. For example, when considering our local interstellar neighborhood, around 25 light years out from the sun, the comparatively minuscule spaces in between the planets of our solar system are still incredibly vast. To get an idea of how vast, today we're going to travel the planets. Now, I've watched videos describing the tremendous distances between planets using vehicles of various speeds, most being speeds the majority of humanity has never experienced, like 48,000 kilometers per hour or 30,000 miles per hour for us imperialists here in the US of A. Because who uses the metric system except the literal rest of the world? No, really, only 3 countries use the imperial system. The US of A is included in that number. Regardless, no one knows what 30,000 miles per hour or 48,000 kilometers per hour feels like, and most never will. So for this trip, I wanted to make it a little more relatable, at a speed most of us have or can experience. Imagine this, you're behind the wheel of a car, cruising at a steady 85 miles per hour. On Earth, that would get you from New York to Los Angeles in about 35 hours. But today, we're taking things to a whole new level. Our destination? Our very small but large suburb of the galaxy. So let's imagine a road across the solar system, maybe something like Snake Way in Dragon Ball, connecting the planets. I'm a total anime fan, by the way, you'll see that in more of my videos. Let me know if you are in the comments below too. Next, let's pick our vehicle. My car of choice is the Unity Rear Lounge by Leisure Travel Vans. Yeah, bet you thought I'd pick a McLaren, and I would have. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not an old man, I'm only in my 30s, but with some of these timelines, I'd like a bed for sleeping. That being said, to some of these youngins watching this video, I am an old man. But anyway, are you ready for a road trip? We're going to explore just how vast our solar system is by traversing our tiny plot of the galaxy at a speedy 85 miles an hour. Sounds slow, does it? Try driving one of these vans at 90 plus miles an hour and you'll soon realize you're playing with death. But before our trip, let's add a riddle to the road. I am the beginning of the end, and the end of time and space. I am essential to creation and surround every place. What am I? If you figure it out before the video ends, timestamp it in the comments below, and we are off! Our first stop upon leaving our parents' house is Venus. Venus is our closest neighbor with an approximate distance of 26 million miles and a travel time of a measly 34.9 years. About as old as me, but nothing no one can handle. Venus is often called Earth's twin. Fun fact, when I was a kid, I thought Venus and Serena were in fact twins. Boy, was I wrong. But unlike these incredible tennis stars, they are sisters by the way, Venus cannot fool me. Though Venus is similar to Earth in size and mass, Earth and Venus aren't twinning and much more. Venus has an atmosphere filled with carbon dioxide. You know, the same stuff playing a part in global warming here on Earth? That makes it the hottest planet in our solar system with surface temperatures that can melt lead. Yeah, it's pretty much a hellscape. So we're moving on to Mercury. And Mercury is about 48 million miles from Earth and would be about a 64-year drive, but we're coming from Venus so we can cut that down to 22 million miles in about 30 additional years. Still pretty much an entire human lifetime, but no worries, because for this road trip, we're immortal. Mercury is the closest planet to the sun and the smallest in our solar system because, as everyone knows, Pluto got kicked out of the house before he was a year old. And now that I think about it, there are probably kids growing up now that aren't learning about Pluto. Or maybe there are. I don't know. I haven't been to school for a while. However, even though Mercury's orbit's quite close to the sun, temperatures on Mercury can swing wildly from over 800 degrees Fahrenheit during the day to negative 330 degrees Fahrenheit at night. Talk about bipolar. Question, have you ever had to go to 2 stores but couldn't go to either without backtracking and passing your home? Annoying, right? Well, that's what we're gonna have to do before heading off to Mars. Luckily for us, this is a hypothetical, so a nice warp crystal happens to be sat here at Mercury to get us back to Earth and continue on our way to Mars. Also, it's a one-time use. So after passing by Earth and being tempted to simply land and stay, we're on our way to the 3rd and final planet in our sun's habitable zone. Sitting 48 million miles away on average like Mercury, getting to Mars would take our camper 64 years to reach. Now, Mars, the red planet, has been a source of fascination for centuries. For the last few years, however, it seems all that fascination has been channeled into one human, Elon Musk. With its dust storms, polar ice caps, and potential for ancient life, Mars is a planet of mystery, but also just a really big and cold desert. But who knows, maybe on our journey back to Earth, humanity would have been successful at terraforming our distant neighbor. For now, it's time to say bye-bye to our potential vacation home and head on past the asteroid belt. Fun fact about the asteroid belt, despite what movies portray, flying, well in this case driving, through an asteroid belt at the very least hours isn't dangerous at all. The average distance between asteroids is about 600,000 miles or 965,000 kilometers. You gotta remember, there's more than just imperialists listening to these YouTube videos. So that's about 25 times the diameter of Earth. There's a less than 1 billion chance that you'll hit an asteroid going through an asteroid belt. Though I'll admit, I saw a 2-car accident on a near empty 7-lane highway during the height of COVID-19 lockdowns. So oddly, with some drivers here in the US of A, they might increase the odds. You know who you are. Alright, so now we're finally headed to the outer planets. And outer is truly the right word to describe these 4 behemoths. At a distance of roughly 391 million miles from Earth and 342 million miles from Mars, we're adding a whopping 459 years to our trip, bringing our total time travel to 587 years upon reaching our biggest sibling. Jupiter is the first of the gas giants, planets mainly composed of gas and lacking a rocky surface. It is also the largest planet in the solar system, so large that nearly 1,300 Earths could fit inside of Jupiter. With its 79 moons, raging storms, and the Great Red Spot, a storm larger than Earth, Jupiter is an extremophile. If you find the time with a good telescope, you can easily see some of the amazing details on Jupiter and even 4 of its moons. But for now, we'll say goodbye to our giant sibling and hit the road to Saturn. Heading to the ring planet at 792 million miles from Earth, we need to travel an additional 450 miles from Jupiter. At our brisk pace, we've now driven another 603.9 years. Now you see why I need a vehicle with a bed. I'm sleeping half these trips away. As we approach Saturn and its glorious rings, I find myself looking for the gravity wormhole from Interstellar, but can't find it. Disappointing. Instead, I find 148 moons. Yes, Saturn has 148 moons, the most in the solar system, but only one is ever talked about, Titan. Now, to not get it confused with the Mad Titan, Thanos' homeworld Titan, Titan is unique in that it has an atmosphere, something rarely seen in moons, and could potentially be a qualifying terraforming option. But that's millennia from now, if not hundreds of thousands of years into the future. Also, Saturn makes this really cool hexagonal pattern on its north pole that I would love to see in person. It always amazes me when nature creates these wonderful geometric shapes. Sometimes we forget math is simply a reflection of nature, and all math is discovered more so than it is created. Now onward to Uranus. And yes, I'm doing everything I can to not make a cringy dad joke, because I love dad jokes. Uranus is a whopping 1.69 billion miles from Earth and an additional 910 miles from Saturn. That's over double the distance between Jupiter and Saturn. The drive to Uranus alone would add an additional 1,221.3 years to our road trip. Uranus is the only planet that appears to be on its side. This trait is actually very unique because it rotates on its side as well, meaning its actual axis is tilted nearly 90 degrees. Scientists think a massive collision early in its history may have put it in that position, and it makes you wonder where the object that caused it could be. Uranus isn't small, so you'd think it would be remnants somewhere, but depending on how long ago it happened, whatever collided into it could be long gone by now. Also, Uranus has a liquid diamond ocean. I'm not sure what that will look like, but it sounds cool. And now we head towards the final planet in our solar system, Neptune. Arriving at Neptune, we have now traveled 2,764,000,000 miles, adding an additional 1 billion miles from our trip from Uranus. This also means we've been on the road for over 3,000 years, long enough to see Isildur take the ring and the Strait of Men failed. We would have watched Elrond take Isildur to the heart of Mount Doom, where the ring would forge the one place it could be destroyed, and then watch old buddy say no and casually walk past him, allowing evil to endure. On Neptune, however, the only thing enduring is the icy winds. The winds on Neptune are supersonic, reaching up to 1,200 miles per hour. Neptune is an icy world with a deep blue color due to the methane present in its atmosphere. Uranus also has methane in its atmosphere, that's also why it's blue. And it also boasts a thin ring system. Actually, in fact, all the outer planets possess a ring system. However, Jupiter's and Neptune's aren't very visible. And alas, we have reached the end of our journey. Nah, not really. I grew up in the 90s. Yeah, I know it was a while ago. Anyway, during that time, Pluto was still a planet, so it's my duty to visit the former ninth planet. Though it's not considered a major planet, Pluto is too iconic to leave out. Pluto is 3.7 billion miles from Earth, adding another billion miles to our trip, taking our total time travel to nearly 5,000 years, meaning we're way before Isildur and the fall of man. A fun fact about Pluto is that it has a unique elliptical orbit that sometimes brings it closer to the Sun than Neptune. So if Pluto ever regains planetary status, it won't. Pluto would take the 8th spot at times. Still, the heart-tattooed planetoid is so far away that it takes sunlight over 5 hours to reach it. All in all, our solar system is unimaginably vast. Even when traveling at a pretty decent speed on Earth, 85 miles per hour, this perspective shows just how tiny Earth is in the grand scale of space. Oh yeah, and the answer to the riddle is the letter E, for end, time, space, and every place. Thanks for joining me on this cosmic road trip. If you enjoyed this journey through our solar system, hit the like button below and subscribe to the page, and let's keep exploring the universe together. Until next time, I've been the blank face who likes space, and I'll see you in the next one.